do humans at times use their mind for negative reasons without even realising?
We're very vulnerable, like all species are vulnerable. You look at the most powerful animal on the earth, you would say it's an elephant. Nothing can really challenge an elephant. I think ironically they get scared by little mice, which is quite bizarre. But, they're a very formidable animal. Like nothing can really intimidate an elephant. So you look at how you can triumph over an elephant, you can manipulate it mentally, not physically, because nothing can compete. But it's known for elephant trainers, they can take a baby elephant, and if they want to stop it, having freedom to think and move, they'll limit its range of movement by tying a very, very heavy chain around its ankle and then harnessing that to a tree, and then it kind of has like a range of, say, 2 or 3 meters to move. And so that little elephant learns, okay, I can move this far and then I can't go beyond that. And so it gets programmed with that is like the sphere of movement. That's my range of freedom. And so as that elephant begins to grow in size, what the trainers do is they reduce the size of the chain. It becomes this big, heavy chain, and it gets thinner and becomes less and less robust until when it's a full-blown elephant, you can just try a little piece of string around it and it won't go beyond the 2 or 3 meters that it's been conditioned to. So everything mentally, it can be manipulated. And you can see, we just went through a phase of 2 years where there was mass manipulation. So people can't see their own thought patterns, so that they end up being basically the victim of them. And so a mindset coach, or anyone who's doing any type of coaching, is playing the role of the enlightened observer, which is attempting to bring awareness to what's unconscious in that person. And because we're not aware of our own thinking patterns, we see their effects, but we don't realise like we're the cause. We're causing those things to arise in our life. So that's like the hidden sector of man and woman is our mind stuff. And that's the most powerful and defining stuff. Like when you look at individuals, why is one person successful and not the other? And you can say physically, most people are the same. Like it's not like some people have got this major advantage and they've got 4 legs or anything. Everyone anatomically is pretty much the same. And it's really how like focused and dialed in their mentality is, which will determine whether they are going to excel or not. And that's what I love about sport. Like I'm a huge fan of UFC, which probably everyone will be shocked about. Like some meditation guys into like this mixed martial arts. But I'm more interested in the mindset.
Yeah.
Like what is it that makes one person a champion and another person not? And I think for me that's just like the most fascinating study on the earth. Just like how is it if you can shift your thinking, then life changes.
Yeah.
Everything shifts. Because that is our great power, our ability to think. And if you think of like from a Vedic perspective, like the threefold kind of structure of existence you have at our source, we are this pure consciousness, we are this supreme presence, power and intelligence, but it gains expression through the mind. And it's like the mind is the instrument or the medium which allows for the unfolding of that pure potential. And if that mind is contracted or restricted, then the expression is limited or tainted. So as you can open up that consciousness, that mind space, and you can correct those patterns and flows, then it's like the river's free to really merge into the ocean.
It reminds me of that Rumi quote, and this might not be verbatim, but why do you stay in jail when the doors are open? And what I think a lot of people struggle with is rumination. So they get stuck on a thought or something that they think may have occurred, and they can't let it go. Yeah. What are the best tools for people to use when they're in that frame of mind?
Yeah, it can be very binding. Like we call those like a samskara, which is like a scar in consciousness or a groove. So if you have a record, old-fashioned record, and they have those grooves in them, and then they just kind of go around in those grooves. Yeah. It's the same thing exists in the mind. There are certain patterns and structures in the brain and in the mind, and so it's very easy for our awareness to move in those very familiar channels. And part of what we habituate to is looking at what's lacking, missing, what went wrong, what's not right, the dark side, the mess, the noise. We have an entire industry dedicated to highlighting negativity. It's called the media, the mainstream media. And they don't tell you all the wonders of the world and all the magnificent things that happen that day. They just highlight all the dark things. And so it's over time we end up doing similar things ourselves. Like, and I remember we used to play this game with my kids, and we'd say, what's your rose and what's your thorn of the day? And you'd say this thing was amazing and this thing kind of sucked. And then I noticed it was really detrimental to my boy, because throughout the day he was like highly alert to like thorns. And so I said, okay, new rules, no thorns, just roses. So we get caught up in like conditioning ourselves to see the things or think the things that actually aren't healthy for us. And it becomes addictive. Like, look at negativity. A lot of people just get some sort of charge out of it. They get some bizarre satisfaction from talking negatively or gossiping about someone or doing all this sort of thing. And so it's low-grade frequencies and it's easy. It's easy fodder. So it's easy, as we sort of mentioned at one point along this sort of retreat, it's very easy to be negative. It's very easy to destroy something. It creates way more mindfulness and sophistication and intelligence to create something, to build something and to develop something. So human beings are often just a bit lazy, and we'll work really hard on our careers and things, but we have to extend that same effort to, our inner territory. Yeah. And so if someone's being plagued by negativity, there's lots of different reasons for that. We could say there's some that's like that negativity is a signal from within that they're out of alignment, or they've fallen into bad habits, or they're polluting their body, or they're keeping really bad company, they've been watching too much mainstream media or whatever it may be. Lots of things can influence the mind. Like I said, it's super easy to pollute the mind. So if there's negativity, I would say there's some form of pollution, and it could be also there is some imbalance in the body. And the state of the body will then flow into influencing and creating a cloud in the mind. The atmosphere can also be, influencing our mind. Like, just think of the phase people went through. That was like major, like mental resilience training, because it was just coming from all angles. There was lots of thorns. And so it's not so easy for people to see beauty and purpose and, the gift in such things. But the more you train yourself to see that, the more that will dominate your awareness.